Guess who couldn't wait? Hey, it's Romania Black. No, I waited a few days, but I'm sorry. I couldn't know. After the episode where Lights assembled his dream squad, I got really nervous about Mello and Nier, and really nervous for everybody else, for like Aizawa and everyone. And so I was like, I need to watch ahead. So I am watching this episode before I see a lot of people's comments for episodes 32 and 31. But it's fine, right? It's fine. I'm trying to savor because we have 5, if you can believe it, 5 episodes left of this series. It's been such a journey. And so I want to savor these last 5 episodes. And then I still have the musical, the Netflix. We were talking in the Discord about it. I was like, we're going to start 2023 with a Netflix adaptation. And everyone was like, dear God. We're going to end the dumpster fire with a dumpster fire. That's what we're going to do, right? And so there's that. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. So last episode, Light assembled his dream squad, Kiyomi. Kiyomi, who knew she'd come back after all this time to be the voice of Kira. He's got the voice of Kira and the hand of Kira right by his side. But I was thinking about this today. I went back and watched the English dub. And then Kirby Morrow plays the voice of, sadly, the late Kirby Morrow plays the voice of Mikami in the English dub and gives him kind of a very kind of sinister, crazy quality to him while still being very level and even keel like Light. It's very good. But I was thinking about this today that, you have Light and Mikami and Kiyomi. What if we end up having those 3 versus Mello, Nier, and Misa? Because I thought about this. If Misa's being bugged by Mello, what if Mello and Nier find out that Light has potentially moved on to Kiyomi over Misa? What if they try to get Misa into the fold, right? What if they try to somehow do something with that? I don't know what they could do with Misa and how they could like woo her to their side, or maybe they're going to use her too. I don't know. I just thought it would be interesting if you had I think of Nier and Light kind of as equivalents. Then you'd have Mikami and Mello kind of as equivalents, and then you'd have Misa and Kiyomi. I don't know. It just that dawned on me today while I was thinking about it and watching the English dub, and I was like, that could work, I guess. But I don't know. I don't think that Misa would ever willingly team up with Mello and Nier unless she just got really pissed off at Light and realized he didn't love her. But I don't know if that happened. However, if Light thinks he's going to pursue, in the English dub, he's like, I'm going to pretend to date Kiyomi to investigate Kira. I'm like, I feel like this needs to go 2 directions. 1, Light, if you're investigating this woman that is literally the mouth of Kira, you better be giving the task force some information or that's going to be really suspicious. And then 2, how are you going to do it without Misa knowing? Or is Mogi going to slip up and say it too? Like, how is this going to work? So, I decided that Wine-chan, we had so much fun last episode. Wine-chan needs to come with me on this journey for the last 5 episodes of Death Note. Wine-chan needs to join me on this journey. And I ran out of one type of wine, so this is just blackberry wine. So Light Elle would still be proud, right? So we'll see. But y'all, I don't know how this is going to go. So I don't have any comments to talk about right now. Probably by episode 34, I will have some comments, but we'll just have to wait and see. But 5 episodes left, y'all, and Light seems like he's got everything assembled. Everything's going his way. I'm worried for Mello and Nier because Light's got the perfect right hand and an intelligent woman to be his voice. So what's he gonna do? Is he gonna give Kiyomi Death Note powers? I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work. So we'll see, right? But in any case, we're going to start episode 33 of Death Note. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's do this. What a strange episode. That did not go anywhere like I thought it would. It felt like a setup episode. It felt like, which is weird because we have 4 episodes left after this, but it feels like a setup episode for everything. Like it's all coming together. Nier is coming to Japan, and Mello's in Japan, and the task force for the SPK is gonna be in Japan. It's all coming together. It's like, and Nier knows all the pieces. Nier knows everything that's going on. And it's like he's just waiting to bring it all crashing down. But is he going to be able to pull it off? I don't know. I feel like initially in this episode, watching it, I wasn't sure what we would discuss because I was like, it feels like there are things that happen, but it feels like it's nothing like revelationary. But I want to bring Whiteboard Kun out, and I feel like it's important to establish like all the pieces. It almost feels, in the weirdest way, like we're going back to our roots, kind of. It felt like L, and it felt like L and Light like going at each other. It felt like the Giovanni guy kind of gives off Major Ray Pinbar vibes. So it like felt like we were going back to him. And I was like, well, he's going to end up dying. Well, like Giovanni could end up dying because here's the thing that's dangerous about Mikami. Mikami, in broad daylight, in front of everyone, just pulled out a notebook and killed a guy and said delete out loud like it was nothing. But he's got the eyes and he doesn't care. He's just doing whatever needs to be done. And the thing of it is, I want to put up here, like, Mikami and Takeda, Light believes he's found these perfect chess pieces that are going to do everything that he wants them to. But I'm like, there are cracks in the surface, right? And I'm like, Light, you want to control everything, but it doesn't work like that. Because like we've said in the comments and otherwise, Misa unconditionally loved Light, like loved him, like liked Kira, appreciated Kira and what he did for her family, but loved Light. And so she was willing to do anything he wanted because she loved him. Now, Kiyomi seems like she's in the same boat, like she's fallen for Light, and Light has not helped that cause at all. He's hot and he knows some moves. He's learned some moves over 6 years, so he knows what to do. But I'm like, so these women, but like emotions are a thing, right? And so I want to put down Mikami here and put him down. He's kind of dangerous for a lot of reasons. One, he is not afraid to publicly execute. And I feel like that's something that Light would frown upon because Light knows that they're being... The thing of it is, with Mikami, does he know about the SPK? I feel like he doesn't. I feel like Mikami is just blindly doing whatever Light tells him to do, but he doesn't realize he's being tailed by a covert organization. I don't think he knows that. I am a little bit worried about Giovanni. He's being tailed by Giovanni. Giovanni is tracking him. I am a little bit worried because I feel like the fact that he publicly executed that guy without a second of hesitation leads me to believe that Giovanni is very much in danger because he can see Giovanni with the eyes. The moment he thinks there's anything suspect, he could just kill Giovanni and that's it. And he's not afraid to do so. So Giovanni is in danger of being killed by Mikami, right? If Light is giving over the power of Kira to kill to Kiyomi, then I feel like Misa and Lindner are in danger because Kiyomi may go out of her way and kill her without a second's hesitation. I'm very curious because we'll talk about Kiyomi and Misa and all that jazz. But Mikami, I'm worried because he's, if not afraid to publicly execute, he has a very absolute mindset. And it is good or evil. He does not think in shades of gray. And that becomes a problem in Light's case because Light is used to working in the shadows. He's used to working within those shades of gray. Like, oh, well, I'm saying this, but, I'm kind of meaning that. And yes, we are doing this, but secretly we're doing that. Like Light has traversed through the darkness all these years and has been able to work within these realms of like, well, kind of in between morally right and wrong and made it work to his benefit, right? But Mikami's not like that. Mikami's like, you're either good or you're evil. I'm either going to kill you or spare you. And that's what Kira believes. So I'm right. And it's like, ugh. And I wonder if he will ever question Light. I feel like he will not unless he sees him. That's the thing. Unless he sees Light, I don't think he's going to question him. I think that as long as he doesn't see Light and see that he's a tangible human, he's going to keep thinking that it's a god talking to him. Because that's the illusion, right? Mikami is under this grand illusion that God is talking to him and telling him to do these things on his behalf. And as long as you maintain the illusion, then Light believes he can control Mikami. But if Mikami, what would be the biggest irony of all ironies? It would be the biggest irony if Mikami finally saw Light and suddenly remembered that Light was somebody that was a bystander that did nothing to help someone. and let them go, and he determined that Light was evil. Like, that would be great, right? That would be hilarious if, like, this person that's Light's tool ends up realizing that Light is a bad egg and decides to off him for it. Like, he's just doing the word of Kira. And that's kind of my fear with Mikami, is that I feel like Light believes that he has, and I guess I'll put Light up here. Light believes that he has control over Mikami. He's like, oh, Mikami and I think the same way. I can control him. It'll be fine. But my fear is that my fear for Light is that Mikami will eventually be like, no, I don't really, doesn't sound like Kira. Kira believes this, and I know Kira better than you do. And it's like, and then, Light will be like, but I'm Kira. And he's like, are you? Because I'm the one killing now. I'm the one with Kira's power. So I'm afraid that he's kind of one of those people that's going to get out of hand. The power is going to get to his head. It already has. And that it's going to get out of Light's control. And because Mikami doesn't even know what Light looks like, has no connection to him, Mikami's not going to be someone that Light can keep under his thumb. That's my fear with that. I feel like if Nier's going to exploit something, he's going to exploit something. Then you have Kiyomi, that he is trying to emotionally control, right? You have Kiyomi. Now, both Kiyomi and Mikami are like worshippers of Kira, so that's one way that Light has them under his thumb. With Mikami, it's this blind obedience, and with Kiyomi, it's using love to try to influence her, right? Love and a promise. That's the thing. He has promised her power as the quote-unquote goddess of the new world. I feel like there's something under the surface with that conversation with Misa, and we'll get back to it when we get to it. But yeah, I'm like, Light, it looks like Light's on top of the world. And I fear for Nier, because I feel like the nearer that Nier gets to Light, the more in danger that he is. And that's what I'm afraid of, because I'm like, what if he has Kiyomi take the eyes of the Shinigami? What if that happens? Can he do that, though? I don't think he can, because Ryuk is the only one that can grant the Shinigami eyes, and he can just grant them to Mikami. So I guess she cannot get the eyes. But he's given her Death Note. She has 5 pages that we know of. 5 pages of the Death Note at her disposal. And Lidner is one of her bodyguards. So Lidner and Giovanni are definitely in danger, right? They're very much in danger. My curiosity is going to be if Nier outs that Mikami is working as the hand of Kira. That's going to be like, is he going to out him for that? So I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. I don't know how that's going to work. But Nier is fascinating, because he's pretty much, I love the episode's called Scorn. We said, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. I feel like by the end of this, Misa and Kiyomi are about to have like a cat fight over Light Yagami of all people. The least heterosexual man in this series. But he puts on the moves. I mean, he plays the part. Now that L's gone, I guess he can afford to do that. I love that Nier's like, Light's sure popular with the ladies. I was like, and L's like rolling in his grave, with his sweets. But yeah, so all the pieces are set. And he's cutting out, it's Tokyo Tower, isn't it? That he's cutting out? Is that what he's cutting out a thing of? I feel like it is. So we have Nier. I'm going to put Nier up here. So Nier is going to Japan. And Mello is already there. Mello is there, and he is spying on Misa and Light's apartment. So it's funny that they are kind of working together, despite not saying they're working together. It's funny how that works. They're like, we're not working together, but then they kind of are. But Nier's like, okay, I'm going to go to Japan. It's my turn to head there. And I love that he's building the tower. He's building the tower, which I just instantly had L vibes, remembering the tower that Light and L were on in the rain. I was like, but I feel like that's not going to happen with Nier. I feel like there's not going to be a rainy scene where Nier bathes Light's feet. No, I don't think so at all. I think, if anything, it's going to be, I don't know, the top of the tower, man. But he cuts it out. And so I love that he tells Rester, he's like, can you return to New York now? And he's like, oh, I've decided to go to Japan. I love that Rester says, oh, so you want me on standby while you're gone? And Nier says, no. I've never been on a plane before. I don't want to be on my plane by myself. It's so cute. It's so freaking cute. So he's brought Rester. So the gang's all there. Rester is with him. So Rester, Giovanni, and Lindner, they're all there in Japan with him. He said he had 4, though. He said me and my team of 4. Did he mean Mello? Was Mello the 4th? And he's lied to Light before. Nier has lied to Light. So it would not surprise me if he told him an odd number, right? And he's like, I've never been on a plane by myself. I want you to come back and come with me to Japan. And I love that Resner's like, yeah, okay. It's very cute because he looks exactly like, if I'm honest, if I go back to that one part there, he looks a lot like L in that moment where he's just like sitting like a little frog and he's like kind of embarrassed. He doesn't want to admit that he's never been on a plane before. It's really freaking cute. And then them on the plane, I'm sorry, but when there's on the plane and he makes him switch with him, and he like holds the toy up. Oh my god! It's the cutest thing. I'm sorry. Nope. The cutest thing. He's holding the little toy up and he's like switched to the little squirrel toy with Resner. There's just something really childlike and innocent about Nier and the way that he does his deduction. I do agree with Alexander Q. I do believe he's using the toys as a kinesthetic way for him to figure things out. But just adorable. Adorable. I feel like in earlier episodes with L, there were some moments where he was really cute, like some of the ways they animated him. This was the closest thing to that, and I felt very nostalgic for a second. I was like, this is really adorable. It's sweet. But anyway, so as expected, Yoshida Productions and NHN jumped at the chance. Okay. So they have a pop song festival, the Misa Misa's first time on show, hosted by anchor Kiyomi Takeda. So, of course, it's like, and we see an image of Kiyomi and Misa there, and she's got, like, the Santa Claus, like, Playboy Bunny outfit on. So, the time frame is that it must be December. It's around Christmas. It must be December because there's a Christmas tree, they're all decked out, there's all lights and everything. So, that's the time frame that we're in December of the year. Okay. So, I want to make note here that with Kiyomi, she is hosting this pop song festival and being the MC, right? And Misa is doing her comeback show. Yeah. So Misa starts show. Which is interesting because, you know, it's her first comeback show. She's no longer Kira, so she can afford and has the time to do such things, right? And so they make a note of that. The great Misa comeback plan. It's difficult to enter NHN right now. So this will allow us to do so without looking suspicious. So yeah, they've managed, it's hard for them to break into NHN. And so it's their way to get in with the task force. Now, it gets rather interesting, right? Because at this point, the task force believes that Kiyomi is possibly working with Kira, but they don't know that she's working with Light. And they don't know that Misa was once working with Light, but now is not working with Light. But Kiyomi doesn't know that Misa was ever working with Light. So we've got to frame this. There's a way that this is all going, right? That it's kind of insanity that there's Light. And he was working with Misa, right? That's no longer a thing. And then now he's working with Kiyomi, who does not know that they worked with Misa. And he's also working with Mikami, who doesn't know Light. But Kiyomi does know Light and does know that Mikami is working. So Kiyomi kind of is in the know. She knows the most alongside Light, but even she doesn't know about Misa. So she knows a little bit more than Mikami, but knows more than Misa in the situation, but Light is still on top, right? He's still the king in this situation. He thinks he's perfectly in control. Everything's fine. He's also working with the task force, who doesn't know that Light's been working with Misa, but they're also working with Misa. They know that Light is doing something with Kiyomi, but they don't know what, and they do not know about Mikami. So we have that going on. And then at the center, at the top of all, you have Nier, who by the end of it knows about Mikami, knows about Kiyomi, knows about the task force, knows about Misa, and knows about Light. Nier knows everything. He's figured it out. He's cracked the code. He did what L was afraid to do. And L was afraid to just go by intuition alone. L was like, well, it sounds like it's right, but I can't. There's no proof. Nier is like, screw proof. Screw the rules. L has money. That's the thing we're going to go off of. He's like, no, we're just going to roll with this. We're going to roll with this. And if we're wrong, we'll just apologize. So Nier is like 90% of the way there. He's in Japan. He knows Light is Kira. He's figured out that Mikami is possibly the X-Kira, and we have L-Kira. I love that we're giving them like sine and cosines. And he knows that Misa's involved because Mello's tracking her. He knows that Kiyomi's involved and the task force is involved. And Nier kind of seems to understand. Nier and Light are in very similar situations, right? So I'm going to put a little upside down crown for Nier. Nier and Light, they are in the exact same boat. Now the question is, who's going to out the other first and who's going to kill the other first? But what's interesting is that Nier doesn't say anything about killing Kira. That's the thing. We're going to talk about that. That's the interesting thing, right? So Mogi's going to go as Misa's manager. Of course he is. And we definitely want someone who can freely enter the NHN. And I'll investigate through Takeda. I want to make note, Aizawa looks so skeptical of Light. Aizawa's just sitting there looking at Light like, okay, you're working with Takeda. Okay, sure you are. Yep. He's looking at Light so skeptically. And then In just calls. In just like, hey, what's up, Light? Sup? He's like, this is L, what do you want? I love that Light doesn't even just like, what do you want? We're busy. Like, just, no pretense. And he's like, I'm going to arrest Kira, and I'm here in Japan. He's making the Tokyo Tower is what he's making. Interesting. And they have like all the setup and everything. He's like, he's in Japan. Why is he taking the time to tell me that? Like, what is this? Like Nier is so good at baiting Light. He's like, you've contacted Takeda, the anchor, and are investigating Kira, aren't you? And everybody knows. And Light's like, why, yes, I'm investigating her myself. And Nier's like, I figured. Like, right now, it's a given that we must investigate Kiyomi Takeda if we want to find Kira. And he's like, so please tell Takeda that the SKPK members have entered Japan in order to arrest Kira. And then Light's like, why would I tell her that? Why would I tell her you're all there to arrest Kira? And he's like, I want to lure Kira out. And Light's like, oh, wait, what? So Nier's plan is that we're just going to cut to the point. He's like, we're in Japan. We want Light to tell Kiyomi that we're there to arrest Kira. He knows he's going to get a rise out of her. If Light's not connected to her, then she's going to get a rise out of it, and it's to lure out Kira. It's a great plan, right? As long as you're not like Yagami. Because, yeah, Lear's like, yeah, we're just going to lure her out. We're going to do the same thing. Kind of the same thing that they did before with the tapes. Back with L. That's what Nier's like, yeah, we're just going to lure him out, right? And he's like, I want you to add this. There are only 4 SBK members, including myself. So, okay, that's right. So it is Nier and Lidner and Giovanni and Rester. It's just them, right? And Light looks so ticked off. He's like, there's only 4 of us. So Kira won't run away. He's like, no, Kira's not going to back off from this. We're the ones actively pursuing him. He's going to try to kill us. He's like, he will definitely try to kill us. He's like, we are going to use that to beat him at his own game. And Light just seems so offended. Light's like, beat him at his own game? You don't know me. But yeah, Nier is just, and Nier knows that Light is Kira, so he's just getting him riled up, right? And I feel like Nier wants to find out, okay, what are you going to do, Light? How are you going to counter it? Like, this is a pretty solid plan. How are you going to counter it? You're probably going to have Mikami try to come out and kill us, or Kiyomi, if you've given Kiyomi those powers. So, it's curious. He's just setting him up. And I love that Nier's just smiling there, like, And it shows them rising up the elevator. I love that Light imagines they're on an elevator to a tower rising to the top and there's golden bars. Nier is so short compared to Light. He's like up to Light's chest. He's like so short. He's like, fine, Nier, I accept your challenge. And he's like, I'm in Japan. I'm also in Japan. I love that Light's like, screw you. It's just, it's great seeing the two of them and like golden light. He's like, then we meet face to face soon. And he's like, yes, you're right. I feel like this is Light like imagining their confrontation, but he doesn't know Nier enough to know his personality. So this is just how he's imagining the conversation going. And it's very wooden. It's like, oh my God. He's like, I'll look forward to that time. And he says, yes, we'll bring this business with Kira to an end once and for all. And that's it. And then Light has his dramatic monologue where he's like, come to think of it, ever since the beginning. And we see like the film reel and there's L and there's Light and all the moments of him and Ryuk and all them together. This has been a one-on-one battle against L. From the start. It's so good seeing L again. I just want to take a photo just to know. I also like that in part of Light's memory, if you look at the reel, there's the frame of L close being like, I'm L. Like there's the frame of him right there. That's really great. I love that you get that. He's like, only now it's shifted to someone who's influenced by L. And so he sees like the two illustrations, the little boy of Nier and then Mello. When they're little kids, like the sketches of them. And Nier does look like a little frog. So that's interesting that Light views Nier as just being somebody that is influenced by L. And he includes Mello in this as well. Or at least, well, he includes Mello in that. Now, I don't know exactly, I can't recall how much Light knows if Mello is... I don't think that he knows Mello is connected to Nier and L. I don't think he knows that. I think that Light just knows that Nier is like the successor to L, but I don't think he realizes... He doesn't know how close Mello and Nier are. Light doesn't know that. Light doesn't know that Mello and Nier were like this in the orphanage until they separated. He doesn't know that. So that is a piece of information that Nier has at his disposal that is an advantage he has over Light, is that Light doesn't realize the connection between Mello and Nier. But yeah, I like that Light almost refers to Nier. He's suggesting that Nier is like Mikami. He's suggesting Nier is like Mikami. He's like, oh, Mikami is influenced by me. And you were influenced by L. So in kind of the most roundabout way, Light is suggesting that he's like, well, me and L were at the top of our game, and Mikami and you are just shadows of that. You know, it's curious how Light phrases that. He says, fine, Nier, come out if you're coming out. I love it. He's like, if you're going to come out, and I'll see you when we meet. And we see this like specter above. He's like, we'll see who's more prepared and who can surpass the other. And when that happens, the battle will end. So he's basically, and that's when I'll begin my reign at the top. So Light is convinced that he cannot be the best Kira he can be until Nier is gone. He's got to get rid of Nier in order to do that. Okay. And so he's like, all right, you and me, we're at the top of our game. Which one of us is going to win? Which one of us is more prepared? I like that Light, he says, who is more prepared? I worry about Nier in that regard because Light's pretty damn prepared. Light like thinks things through like nobody's business and is like 12 steps ahead of everybody. So I feel like I'm a little bit worried for Nier in that regard because I'm like, I don't know, Nier, if that's going to work. Wow, that's going to work for you. But Light looks so scary in that moment where he's just like looking up being like, come on, Nier, come at me, bro. And Rester's like, he's like, we have to figure out our current situation. And so he has the different pieces. He has the little piece of Takata. He also has a pop gun. He has the NHN building. How did he get an NHN building made so fast? Watari, what is this? He has like a little pop gun. And he goes, it would be really cute if Nier pulled out a gun on the rooftop and just popped a cork at Light to fool him. And Light thought he was going to shoot him and then he went, and like got him with the cork gun and was like, gotcha. That'd be kind of funny. I think that'd be hilarious if that was Nier, because Nier says we're not going to kill him. That would be hilarious. He just wants to solve the game. But yeah, so he has a member, he has the three of them, and then as a little figurine, and then he has the three members, he has Matsuda and Aizawa and Ide. He's missing like another figure, but maybe they're in the case right under it. He says L is Light Yagami and Kira. And let's assume that there is an L Kira. Okay, and so he labels it, right? And he's like, and there's another, and an X Kira, which is the black figurine, right? And he holds the notebook and is using it. Okay. Judging by X Kira's killings, he has the Shinigami eyes. Okay. So he says L and Kira, L Kira and X Kira plan to communicate through Takeda, which is exactly right. He's like, so I believe there's two ways to win against Kira. And he says that one way, our first option, is to kill L and X Kira and take the notebook. But we'll never resort to this method. I gained infinite respect for Nier in this moment because that's not the justice that they're dispensing, right? So he says we have two options. Obviously, we don't hear the other option because that's the plan that they're going with. But option one is that they kill Light and Mikami and take the notebook. That's option one. But he says we're not going to resort to this method. Now, Nier says he's not going to resort to that method. Does that mean that Mello's going to resort to it? I wouldn't put it past Mello. I would not put it past Mello if he killed Mikami or Light. I wouldn't put it past him. He's like, that's not how we do things. And Rester says, we. He's like, that's right. Killing people and getting ex post facto justification. It's not how we do things downtown. Killing people just by the fact that the killings have stopped. That's not the way that L and I do things. That's not their justice. So he says that this way is not L's. Which is so true. I've been wondering this whole time, like when it came down to it, how would Nier do it? And would Nier be, because L's whole thing was he's like, we never want to just come outright and kill Kira. We want to arrest him and bring him to justice, but we don't want to just slaughter him. Otherwise, we're no different than Kira. And so I like that in this moment, Nier kind of pays respect to L and be like, no, L wouldn't do it this way. So we're not going to do it that way either. He's like, L wouldn't be able to rest. There'd be no meaning to entrusting this case to his successor. So yeah, he's like, L can't rest in peace if I don't do things his way. I respect Nier for that. I'm like, all right, good on you, Nier. Good on you. So, but in any case, we have Mogi and Light, right, as they travel their way to get ready with Misa and all them. All right. And when he's like, Takeda, I heard on the news that you receive an enormous amount of fan mail every day. So Light's telling her, basically Light is giving her like secret code messages. How Light is able to do this while talking is amazing, but he gives her the messages and he basically tells Kiyomi that he is going to start using her, that he is going to use her as Kira. She's going to act as Kira herself. He's like, don't let them hear the conversation. Don't let them detect your surprise, right? And so he's like, what does he tell them? He's like, Light's moved on to the main topic. So the main topic, he's like, what did he get there? He's like, he tells her to keep calm while she's reading the note and make sure the people listening to the conversation, what did he say there? Did he want them to detect your surprise? Not to let the people detect your surprise. Okay. And then he says, the SPK has started to move. For your safety, you should not only accept messages, but make demands to Kira as well. Okay, so he tells her, so she knows about the SPK. And he tells her that she might have to make demands to Kira as well. Okay, and Matsuda's like, okay, they've moved on to the main topic. And he's like, you shouldn't remain just as a spokesperson. He says, why don't you reach out to Kira? So he tells her, so the task force he tells, so as far as the task force knows, he says that he wants her to reach out to Kira. He's like, why don't you reach out to Kira and tell them? And he gives her the note. And the note says, there's a different job that you must do in order to create a perfect world for Kira. I want you to punish as Kira. So the task force says to reach out to Kira, and Light is telling her to be Kira. And of course, she like has a reaction, but it's not a big reaction. And they're like, oh. And he says, it's all right. You'll do it well. So Light saying you'll do well. The task force thinks it's her reaching out to Kira, and he knows it's her saying that she'll be Kira. If you do, you can give information to Kira that you don't want the SPK to know. So he tells her that you can give info to Kira that the SPK won't know. So yeah, Light's friend, this is all is working out perfectly for Light, because Light's like, oh good, the task force is thinking that we're getting her to talk to Kira and figure out what's going on and be a step ahead of the SPK. But the reality is he's letting her know about the SPK and also giving her permission to kill members of the SPK if it comes down to it. So Light's just framing this as a win-win situation for him. And I love that he like pulls her close to him, like just physically manipulating her, being like, I know you can do this for me, right? He just like, he's got her ensnared. And she's like, fine, I'll do it. And the task force is like, we did it. As expected of Light. He's good. Yeah, very good. So she agrees. She agrees to act as Kira. He's setting it up. I feel like he's setting it up for Mikami and Kiyomi to take over from him and Misa. I feel like he's setting it up. I feel like he's setting things up that if anything happens to him, Kiyomi and Mikami will be able to take over for him as Kira and second Kira, just as him and Misa were. I feel like that's what he's setting up. And it's like, will that mean that Light wins in the end, even if he dies? Even if Nier catches him, will the will of Kira carry on? And then Light won't care because Light's expected to be a martyr throughout. It's funny, Light said he's expected to be a martyr, but at the same time, he never took the Shinigami Eyes deal, and he wanted to live and be Kira and be God of the New World as long as he could. So I feel like he's setting up a backup plan just in case, but he still expects to win, right? Oh my God. And then meanwhile, at the top of this tower, at this weird desk, he's doing this whole delete thing. And then he has his cell phone, which is very oddly like taped and everything. It has the voice changer to it. That's what's taped on it. Yeah, that's why he has the secret phone that has the voice changer. So he has his phone and he has another phone. So, okay. Mikami, he has two phones that he uses. All right. He's in this special like room where he does, it feels very much like Higuchi, where he does his deleting in the special room. And then Kiyomi gives him the message saying, I feel like her lamp is really weird. Her lamp has like an angel or something holding up something. The light, it's weird. Send me a fan letter that I can tell is from you. And in it, 5 blank notebook pages. And then he stops. He's like, oh, she's like, continue killing as usual until I receive them. And then after that, and he's like, what about after you receive them? Continue killing using a fake notebook. And he's like, what? A fake? And she says, yes. Make a notebook that looks as close to the original as possible and act as if you're killing using the fake. So what they're doing is, okay, once she gets the 5 pages, so he'll still have the notebook. So he'll still have the notebook in his possession, right? He'll still have the notebook in his possession, but she wants him to make a fake one and start using it once she has the notebook paper. I feel like that is insurance that if Nier and them track him down, track Mikami down and corner him and take his notebook out to use it, then it won't work. it'll be a fake. And they won't be able to convict Mikami as Kira because it won't be the same, right? I feel like that's what's going to happen. And also they could frame Mikami as being like insane and take him into custody and not be able to prove that he has any power in that moment. So I don't know. But Mikami still has the Shinigami eyes. So the moment that he gets out of their grasp or is able to use the actual notebook itself, then they're dead. So I feel like Light is setting up to have some kind of insurance in place in case if Mikami is caught. But Giovanni did see him actually use the real notebook because she hadn't gotten the papers yet. So what do we do with that? But I feel like Light is just setting it up for Mikami to be able to, and I like that in this hallway, this creepy hallway that Mikami is like using the Death Note in, there are everything is perfectly balanced. There's 2 lights, there's lanterns that are evenly on both sides, like everything is symmetrical. And Mikami is like, God, what are you doing? And he's like, oh no, there's no need to question. God is absolute. Okay, and he starts to tear out the paper. So yeah, so he starts to question. He starts to question, but backtracks. But still, the fact that he even started to question is concerning, right? Because he's been Mikami for like 2 days, and he's already starting to question things. And then Kiyomi, she's just sitting there by that candle like, this is what I do. So I do think it's interesting they point out this rule that if there are more than six Death Notes, only the first 6 Death Notes will have effect. I feel like there was maybe like something that happened in the past where like a bunch of Death Notes got sent to the real world. Things got crazy and then the Shinigami were like, we need to put a rule in place to stop this from happening. Although the second rule that's accompanied with this is very weird. And it's that the 7th Death Note will not be active until one of the other 6 Death Notes is burned up or a god of death takes one of them back to the world of the gods of death. Make note, you can burn a Death Note apparently. It says if it's burned up, so you can burn a Death Note. Good to know. But yeah, we've never had 6 at the same time in the real world, so, and I don't know if we'll have that again at this point, so curious. Okay. But yeah, so we have Kiyomi's show that she has, and they're like, wow, I love that Ide is not a fan of Kiyomi's show. He's like, this is gaudy as hell. Not cool. And so then her 4 female bodyguards who have passed a rigorous screening process. And of course, one of them stands out like a damn sore thumb, and that's Lidner. And they're like a karate title champion, a former CIA agent, Hal Lidner. Like, that's just, he's like, if there was an SPK member among these people, it would be the Caucasian woman. Right? Of course. But that seems so obvious. Nier's trying to investigate Takeda. But it seems so obvious. Why would Nier... I guess they have no choice, but it's very curious. It almost seems too obvious, like Nier is baiting Light. I don't know. It almost seems too obvious. But Nier, a random murderer has stabbed 6 people. Nier has all... It seems... The thing with Nier, looking at the footage, is so reminiscent of L. It's crazy. Like, L looking at all the footage to try to narrow it down with Light. Nier is the same way. He's just like, I've got to do this to find out. I feel like this is an extended scene in the manga, and I don't want to know because I want to read the manga when I'm done with this series. So I don't want to know. I want to find out and then maybe do a video about it with y'all about the differences in the manga from this when I get to that point. But I feel like this was a longer segment and they just shortened it for the sake of the episode. And so Nier's like, what do I do? And he sees Takeda and he's like, okay. And she's talking about how like children should know about Kira and their teachings. I'm like, wasn't there a separation of church and state? Don't we believe in that? What? And so he's like, Takeda was chosen because she worships Kira. And so ex-Kira is someone who knows that Takeda is a Kira worshiper. And he narrows it down. He does like common deduction, right? Someone who has a close, intimate relationship with Takeda. Kira will not forgive any small crime. From now on, assume that any living person is punishable. That's the thing. It's gone so far. It went from Light taking the power of Kira and saying, oh, well, the people that are murderers or that have gotten away with these horrible crimes, they're the ones that are going to be punished. And now it's like anybody could be punished. If anybody does any small crime, they could be targeted. It's like, it's so extreme now, right? It's just kind of devolved from Light's original goals. And I like that it's almost like the train on the track. And damn, Nier is like going Super Saiyan over here trying to figure it all out. And I feel like it's extended in the manga, but he narrows it down and sees. He sees Mikami on the screen. I like to hear Kira's voice and hear his thoughts once more. Yep, is the quickest path to world peace. And so the reconstruction of Japan. I love that this is a 21st century discussion thinking about the reconstruction of Japan. And he's thinking, I think it's of utmost importance that young people do everything in their power to contribute to society from now on. So he's very much got this very concrete definition of like, that kind of goes with the whole laziness thing and everything. He's like, no, you should do good. You should be doing this. You should be law-abiding citizens. You should have a job and doing all these things. Makes sense. And I love that Nier, he's sitting there like with his arms out like, yes, if there are no orders or words from Kira, then we need to believe that it's all part of Kira's plan and make our own decisions and take action. And like poor, like it's crazy. Like Nier in that moment is like, oh my God, this guy's him. It has to be. And it's almost like he's figuring out exactly. He's like, El Kira is like Yagami. It was Teru Mikami's own decision. Okay, to contact Kiyomi Takeda. He figures out in order to stop Demagawa's rampage. Yep, he figures it out. Nier has it. He stacked all the CDs up to make towers, like the tower metaphor, and put them at the top. And Nier, he's put it all together. Like everything seems to fit. So what do we do with it? Yeah, so Nier's figured it out. He's cracked the code. He's basically solved the proof, and now he needs to find the steps to lead him to it so that he can get at light. That's the hard part, though. It's one thing to figure everything out. It's another thing to do something with it, right? So then we have Misa. We have Misa, who, don't forget about her in all this. My girl. Oh, my girl. She's like, why aren't I the headlining performer? And they're like, well, you said that I was the highlight of this year's East and West Pop Festival. And Mogi's like, no, the highlight is the highlight. So, okay. I'm going to put Misa right here. So Misa is still with Mogi, right? And she is frustrated that she's not the headliner, the highlight. And it's interesting because now Misa has no memory of the Death Note. She has no knowledge of it whatsoever, right? And she's like, but the headlining act is usually a big name. And that's when she sees Kiyomi. And I love that she looks over at Kiyomi and Kiyomi's like, oh, and she's with her bodyguards. And Kiyomi is just so smug. Because Kiyomi knows, she's like, oh, Light told you that he loves you, but he actually loves me. And I'm like, joke's on you, bitches. He doesn't love anybody. So, And Misa's just like, Kiyomi Takeda. Like, she was jealous of her back when they were in college. She sure is stupid. Mogi's like, she doesn't know that Light's just using her for his investigation. And he's like, don't say that. You'll be killed if you do. So, Kiyomi, she thinks that Light is using Kiyomi for the investigation. Because even though she's forgotten the Death Note, she does know about the investigation. She does know about the task force. She remembers all that. What's hilarious is Light is using Kiyomi, and he's using it for the task force. It's just there's more to it than that she doesn't know. And she's like, I know, that's why I whispered it. She's like, Mogi, I was being quiet. Oh, God. And I love that Kiyomi's like, I don't have time for you. And I love Misa's like, she snickered at me. I'm going to kick her. Which is why I'm telling you, it would not surprise me if like Misa went at this woman. Would not surprise me. Although I'm a little worried for Misa because if Kiyomi had, the Death Note paper. Now, Lidner has been, this is interesting because Lidner hears the entire conversation between Amane and Kiyomi. And the two of them just looking at each other. And he's like, oh, Lidner, she's a good friend of mine. Don't be rough with her. And Misa's like, don't insult me. She's like, oh, yeah. Misa reminds me in this episode of, Jennifer. Oh, she reminds me of, oh God, she's in American Hustle, and she reminds me of her. She played in the Hunger Games. You know, she's that actress. She reminds me of her in that movie, American Hustle. And they're like, Misa, are you all right? And she's like, that was so frustrating. She's like, I don't want to have Kiyomi, like, defend me. And so then Nier contacts Aizawa. I like that Nier bypasses L at this point. He's like, I want to talk to Aizawa. Is Aizawa there? And L's like, yes. He's like, can I talk to him? I love he's like, hey, it's like calling like a mom. Hey, is your kid there? Let me talk to him. And I like that Aizawa's like, yes, Nier, this is him. He's just instantly ready to help. It's the curious thing, the relationship developing between Aizawa and Nier. He's like, did you videotape and wiretap L and Takada's meetings? And they were like, well, no, we only have wiretaps right now. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. That's all I need to know. Just narrowing down everything. Just getting all the info about Kira that I need right under Light's nose. Thanks. That's what, like, Light's face in that moment, he's just like, because Nier is just rubbing it in Light's face that he can just call in and gather any intel that he wants to help with his investigation, and Light can't stop them because otherwise he'll out himself as Kira. So Nier is just rubbing it in his face a wee bit. And yeah, so now Nier knows that they couldn't videotape their together. Why they weren't using videotapes, don't know, but they weren't. So I'm sure Nier is like, oh, well, Light can talk to Kiyomi about anything, and the task force won't know because they just have to show each other notes, and you can't hear notes. So, and Rester's like, if it's only wiretaps, he's like, yes. And all these gifts are there under the tree. Then we can assume L Kira and X Kira are contacting each other through Takada. Yeah. And if that's the case, and if you look on there is a cross on the tree, as well as a Tamagotchi, the little Megatron toy, and like this creepy ass angel toy is on there. Yeah, and he's like just decorating the tree. Lindner is in increasing danger, and he's like, I know. What's important is for L to turn his attention to Lindner and Takada, and then we can focus on Mikami while his attention is on them. So yeah, Nier is like, okay, we will draw Light's attention to Kiyomi, Lindner, and Misa and all this business while we are investigating Mikami. He can only pay attention to one thing at one time, so we think. But it's Light Yagami, so he's like, how are things, Giovanni? And he says that tailing him is strangely easy. He doesn't try to hide and has been living normally in the same place the last 4 years. But why would Mikami have to hide? He has a notebook and the Shinigami eyes. He can kill anybody instantly. And he has this crazy absolute mentality that if he doesn't like you, he'll just kill you, and that's that. Like, the guy doesn't... That's what makes him scary, is that he doesn't have any reason to hide. Any reason to do so. Why would he? He'll just kill you. That's the scary thing about Mikami, is that he just doesn't have any sense of fear. He's prosecuting people actively. I don't think that he can be ex-Kira. And Nier's like, no, he is ex-Kira. I love that. Unlike L, well, I mean, L, whenever the task force was like, we don't know if it's Kira, L's like, I mean, there's a slight chance. No, Nier is like, there is a high probability. Like, no, you dum-dum. No, Giovanni. Mm-mm. He's like, there's a high probability. Just please be careful. That sounded like very much like L. Like, please be careful. Don't enter his room yet. Just keep watch over him. Okay. And so that's where we are with that they are keeping watch over Mikami. All right? Fair enough. So Misa's like, how many meetings do I have to have with the NHN? How many meetings do I have to do? How many times can I be told, be careful what you say? I love that Mogi keeps telling her, like, please be careful what you say, please. And Misa's like, why? What's with that? And he's like, I'll ask her. Miss Takada is asking if you'd have dinner together. Now the question is, Mogi knows about the dinner. So does Light know about this dinner? So Kiyomi, get this on here. Kiyomi and the dinner scene. This dinner scene is super interesting. I'm like, does Light know about this? Did he arrange this? I feel like he did not. I feel like Kiyomi set this whole thing up, having Misa's phone number. And she's like, oh, really? She's like, damn, Kiyomi, what does she want? Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, that's fine. The Pop Song Festival MC and the main headliner should have dinner at least once together. Yeah. She's tell her okay. And Mogi's like, okay, sure. And he's like, yeah. Oh, okay. So Lindner was the one holding the phone. And she said, I'm looking forward to it. Book a nice private room. And she wants Lindner to be there too. So that makes me think that Light knows about the meeting. That makes me think that Light knows about it. And Light is trying to lure Lindner and Near to a point. I feel like Light knows about the meeting. And he's trying to... See, that's my fear. My fear is that Light, being damn Light Yagami, is going to try to lure Giovanni and Lindner in close and try to lure Near to one of those two locations where he could die. Because at this point, Kiyomi could kill him or Mikami could kill him. So that's my fear. My fear is that he's going to try to lead Near close to one of them and then they'll ambush him and attack him. That's my fear of what's going to happen. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't like it. And she's like, okay. So that does lead me to believe that I feel like Light knows that they met for dinner and is going to use that conversation to get back to Near to try to lure him. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe Kiyomi's acting on her own. If she is, that's something out of Light's control. Does he know about that? I don't know. So this dinner scene is very interesting, right? It's very curious, this dinner scene. Because you have Mogi standing outside with the Secret Service as they're having this dinner. I'm presuming Light knows about it. And there's the trees, right? There's the trees that have been like in the background during L's and all those and all the scenes with L. Says Miss Amani, I'm sorry it's so late. Like she couldn't meet until after the 9 o'clock news, right? It had to be finished after the news 9 finished. And I like that Misa's like, I'm a night owl. It's fine. I feel like Misa gives us off such Harley Quinn vibes, right? Misa gives off very Harley Quinn vibes, but she's like, I'm a night owl. It's fine. All good. No worries. So, and I love that Misa's just like, bottoms up, bitches. She's like, I'm going to drink this whole thing of wine. I like that Misa's in the red and Kiyomi is in the white. And Misa just gets tanked at this dinner. She's like, She's like, what do you want? She's like, it's hard for me to say if you ask, but your boyfriend seems busy. Do you still see him? And Misa's like, excuse me? I like that Misa like stops being like, why are you questioning me about Light? And she says, why that? She knows that she can see him and I can't. So, yeah, here's the thing. Kiyomi, she rubs in Misa's face that she can see Light. And that is kind of a bad move. Like, come on. Like, Misa knows that she can't see him. And she's like, what a bitch. She's just like, fine. Like, oh, well, I do. He's a lot more affectionate than he seems. And I love that she tells her he keeps clinging onto me every night when he comes home. And she's like, oh, I see. You're doing well. Thank goodness. Like, she just kind of, like, avoids the question and, like, avoids the statement. And then I like that Misa in this moment, Misa gets so, like, kind of a little bit cocky where she's like, since you're the MC, I wanted to tell you this in advance, but I'm going to announce my engagement to him at the Pop Music Festival. And I love that at that moment, Kiyomi's like, excuse me, what? It's like they're both trying to outdo each other with Light, right? So Kiyomi, Misa says that she is going to announce the engagement at the Pop Festival. Light does not know about this. I'm fairly sure Light has no clue that she's going to announce this engagement. And because Kiyomi's like, oh. She's like, really? Does he know about this? And Misa's like, well, of course, it's an engagement. And she makes the comment, she's like, I can't do it by myself. He promised me more than a month ago. Okay, so, Light, what are you doing? So, Light, over a month ago, promised an engagement. I wonder if over a month ago was around the time that he started investigating Takeda, and that's how he convinced Misa to let him do it. He was like, oh, we'll get engaged, soon. if you let me investigate Takeda. And Misa was like, okay. Yeah, so Misa's like, well, yeah, he said a month ago we were going to engage. We just haven't gotten around to it because we've been so busy. So the pop concert would be the perfect time. Don't you think it would make things more exciting if I made the announcement at the Pop Music Festival, Miss MC? And oh my God, like just the look on Kiyomi's face. She's like, oh. And Misa just has this look like, I've won. Like Misa's always like trying to win. Like she's just got that sneaky snark about her. Like, she's just waiting to see, what are you going to say to this? Like, how are you going to counter me on this? I'm going to win if I get Light to marry me. And she says, you're right. It would be great if you can. And Misa's like, what do you mean if I can? She's like, you're not going to let me do it? Or are you what? She's like, are you going to have me killed by Kira? And that's when Kiyomi's like, oh. Of course not. Only Kira decides who to punish. She's like, why would you say that? I'm not involved. I think of you as a friend. Don't say such depressing things. I don't have any intention of killing anyone, no matter how horrible they may be. So that's a lie, though, because he's going to use her to kill someone. So she says that she won't kill anyone. But Misa, because she thinks that she's Kira's spokesman, is saying, are you threatening me? All right. Interesting. No matter how horrible they may be. And she's like, well, I used to like Kira as well. But Light's going to catch Kira soon. Oh, so this is the thing. Misa says that she used to like Kira, but Light is going to catch him soon. So, yeah. Oh, boy. Because, yeah, the thing of it is that since when she had the memories of being second Kira, of course she liked Kira because it was connected to Light. But now that she doesn't have those memories anymore of being the second Kira, she used to like Kira, but Light's wanting to catch Kira, so now she doesn't like him. And I love that Kiyomi's like, what do you mean catch Kira? What are you talking about? And then she's like, when he's caught, you're not going to get away either. So basically Misa just said, like, you guys are going to get captured together. So she threatened Kiyomi right back, saying, like, you're going to get caught too once Kira's captured as well. You'll probably get executed. And then Kiyomi knocks the glass over. Uh-huh. But she's laughing. But she's not sad or upset. She's laughing. Being like, Misa, you have no idea. Because Light told her that he's Kira and that he's going to make her the goddess of the new world. So Kiyomi's saying, like, I'm going to have the last laugh in all of this. And just her face. God, that look on her face where she, like, smiles, like, sinister back up at Misa. She's like, oh, Misa, you don't understand. She's like, you think that Light's trying to catch me and that he's going to turn us in? No, you're all having the wool pulled over your eyes. Like, she realizes now what's going on, that they're leading her on. And she's like, oh, Miss Amane. She's like, that was very unpleasant. And she's like, well, the same to you! She's like, I should have waited to invite you to dinner after you'd become more mature and learned some manners. I was like, oh, well, I'm older than you are, little Kiyomi. I like that Misa's like, I'm older than you are. That doesn't leaving the table for something like this make you the more childish one? She's like, you can't sit around and have dinner with me? Interesting. And then they leave. So yeah, I'm sure Kiyomi thinks that Kiyomi's like, I'm the one who's won here. Like, she's like, I figured out. So it's curious. I feel like either one of two things. Either she's figured out that Misa really has no clue and she is really not in the know at all, and Light's going to leave her behind for Kiyomi, or she's figured out that Light's lying to her. But I don't think this is the case. Either she's figured out Light's lying to her and they're trying to, like, you know, find Kira, but she knows that Light is Kira, so she's figured out that Light is in fact the mastermind behind all this. I think what's going to happen is that she knows now that Misa's not in the know at all. Misa has no clue. She had this dinner to figure out how much Misa knew about the situation and how much Misa knew about Light being Kira, and once she figured out that Misa has no idea that Light's Kira and what's going on, she's like, oh, you're not a threat at all. No, Light told the truth to me. He doesn't think you're intelligent enough to be his partner. I think what's going to happen is at this festival, she's going to get Light to announce his engagement to her, and Misa's going to be thrown to the curb. And then the question is, what will Misa do? I don't know. And Mogi's just like, what the hell? And then, of course, he sees Mogi and, hi! I love Misa's like, what are you waiting for? How are you? God, Misa. That, it is really cute, Misa's little drinking pose there. It's actually kind of adorable. But, oh my god. So yeah. She's like, I won. Did she? Did she win? I don't think Misa won. I don't know. Misa girl, you haven't won at all this whole series. You think you have, but you have not. And so Linda recalls this very strange account to Nier and tells him this. Be like, I can only assume they were fighting over who was Light Yagami's girlfriend. And Rester's like, what do you make of this, Nier? And I was like, all I can deduce from this is that Light is popular with the ladies. Oh my god. And the little thing, with the little evil face of Light Yagami is popular with the ladies. It feels like a meta joke at this point because Light is hot and like has a lot of female fans, but it's like, oh no. Takada and Amane adore Light Yagami. And he's like, Nier, be serious. And he's like, no, I am. It's a problem if they seriously like him. They won't easily betray him. Yes, he can make them do whatever he wants them to do. That's a problem. So I feel like Nier did gather some important intel from this, but the question is, what's he going to do with it? It's like, and so then we have the whole bus scene where Giovanni is following him, and then this girl gets harassed. And Mikami, like, takes off the shades like Superman, right? Takes off the shades like he's a superhero. And he takes the phone out. And with the phone, he takes the notebook. And he writes on the notebook. Now, the question is he writing in the fake notebook or not? Is he writing in the fake notebook, or is he giving Kiyomi? I think what's happening is he wrote in the fake notebook, and he's giving Kiyomi with his cell phone the information on who it is he texted her like who to kill in the notebook, and he wrote it in the fake one. So I think when they find Mikami, they're going to find a fake notebook and think they've got Kira, but that's not going to be it. So I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Giovanni's giving me Ray Pinbar vibes. I'm like, don't die, Giovanni. I feel like you're going to, but don't die. I feel like the notebook they use, because if we go back to that image there, when he said, what did he do? He was writing in the notebook, and he got there and he said delete. But what was on the notebook? Was it the actual one or was it the ones he ripped out? Okay, because he took out his phone. I wanted to double check this real quick. That he takes off his glasses, and Giovanni knows he takes out the phone, and he texts somebody the phone, right? He texts somebody, but then he has, I guess it is a death notebook, but it looks like it's fake. I don't know. I think it's a fake notebook, and they're trying to lure them there, and they're going to kill him from that point. I don't know. I'm good vibes. I don't know. Light has a plan, because he always has a plan, and he's put it into action. The variables that are curious in this plan are, one, Misa what is she going to do in all this? Misa doesn't seem like she's threatening anymore because she doesn't have any powers. She's not the second Kira. So it seems like she's not going to be a threat at all. But the question is, if she accidentally touches some of the paper that Kiyomi has and remembers some things, what's that going to be like? So I don't know. But I feel like Misa could still be a threat, but right now she's made to not seem like it. She's made to seem kind of silly at this point, but I don't know. And then Kiyomi feels like she's on top of the world. She's like, I've got Light as my king. I'm going to be, as the god, I'm going to be a goddess. Everything's going my way. Misa's out. I'm in. Mikami, I feel like Light's going to use him as like a detour to like get them away. They're chasing after Mikami and they think Light doesn't know it, but I feel like Light knows it. So we have 4 episodes left. Awesome. And I have no clue where it's going from here. So, yay. So, Misa, cheers, girl. You get you some. Mm-hmm. You deserve better than Light Yagami, though. He's a tool. So, in any case, oh, I spilled some wine. I hope that y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. Thank you so much for watching. I'm excited to hear your comments down below. Please no spoilers. And I will see you next week for episode 34 of Death Note.